His office has already found solutions and learners were informed earlier on the way forward. Kapapero now joins us to give us more details on the matter. Sir, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening to you and the listeners.
Just to start with, we understand, as I mentioned, your office has already found solutions for learners that have not been placed. What is being done to accommodate these learners that haven't received placement yet?
No, thank you very much. This morning we had a meeting with the parents. The idea was for us to inform them about the solution that we have. I need to indicate that the solution is not only coming now, but we needed to inform the parents with their children about the solution that we have at hand. The solution that we have at the moment is that we're going to put up tents at several schools. And in the meantime, we're also constructing a new secondary school in the region, particularly in the Rundu Circuit. That will help us to accommodate the learners that are not placed at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And which grades are currently in demand?
The demand is equally across all the grades, but specifically grade 8, 9 and 10 at the moment. Mm-hmm. We have too many primary schools, but very few secondary schools, hence the problem that we have at hand.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know obviously you've spoken to the parents, but surely there should be anxiety on their end and uncertainty of whether their children actually will get, placement in schools. So is there perhaps a set time frame as to when these learners will be placed?
Yes, absolutely. After our meeting this morning, we made it clear that in a week's time, we should be able to put up tents around some schools, at several schools in the region, and teaching and learning will immediately commence.
How sustainable is the, putting up of these tents under different weather conditions? It's fine when it's sunny and there's no wind blowing, but when it's rainy and so forth, how sustainable is this plan in the long run?
Yeah, well, that's why we are saying we are keeping them there while we do the constructing permanent structures. That's not going to be permanent, but just for the time being while waiting for the school to be constructed.
All right. Well, Mr. Kapapero, any final remarks from you this evening?
Yeah, the final remarks is to urge the parents to be patient. I'm very, very happy that we had a very good discussion with the parents, and they were very happy to hear that the learners or their children are coming back to school starting after next week. At the moment, we are finalizing the logistics as far as tents, chairs and desks, and also human resource or teachers are concerned. So they just need to be patient, and of course, things will be fine.
Sir, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome, Madam. Thank you.
That was Education Director in the Kavango East Region, Mr. Fanuel Kapapero, talking to us about some plans they've made in the interim to accommodate the influx of learners. We'll be right back after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you've only just joined us, you're watching the Daily Roundup with Nina. Now, placement of learners and enrollment at schools countrywide always becomes a headache, as some schools have a high influx of learners ready to kickstart their academic year. Grade 1 and 8 placement continues to pose challenges in certain regions. Now, to find out how the Zambezi region is doing on its first day of reopening, I'm joined by the Zambezi Education Director, Mr. Joseph Kawana. So good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, for having me.
To start with, talk to us about the first day, how it went in terms of enrollment and placement of learners in schools in the Zambezi region.
Thank you so very much. We expected to have a smooth reopening. However, just like always, there are some instances where some parents could not have registered their children earlier. And today they were still flocking in some schools looking for spaces.
I understand grade
so
one. Yes, please continue.
Yeah, so we are expecting to handle the situation as time goes on, but maybe by tomorrow things are going to be much better compared to today.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Kawana, I understand that grade 1s and 8s are considered, a challenge at the beginning of each year. How is the situation in that regard?
That is very true, because in every academic year, the enrollment at junior primary is always increasing. In every academic year, and I anticipate the same this year. The same also is expected for grade 8. So, however, like I've indicated, the challenge is that parents wait until at the final stage. That's when they run around now to look for places where to place their learners.
So far, which schools in the region have space to accommodate more learners?
We have few schools in town, because the challenge is that parents would want to have their school-going children in town instead of schools that are in rural areas or outside town. So most of our schools that are not in town have got space, but schools in town, that is Katima itself, it experienced a problem in terms of enrollment of learners, because each and every parent would want to have their children in town, which is a challenge to us.
Yeah. And have all the schools in the regions received education materials such as stationery, etc.?
Yes, to some extent we did manage. We bought what we were able to provide as a directorate. However, voluntary contribution are still encouraged.
And just lastly, Mr. Kawana, tell us, in terms of schools infrastructure, development, how's the region faring in that regard?
We still have got a challenge. In Zambezi, we have got 3 schools that are running on platoon. That's a system where you have learners that comes in the morning and then later in the afternoon, because of lack of space. However, how we are addressing that is by means of constructing temporary structures and by means of using tents.
All right. Well, any final remarks from you this evening before I let you go?
No, I'm just encouraging our parents to always come earlier to register their school-going children instead of waiting, because when they wait, then it creates problems for the regional management. However, just like our honorable minister has said, we'll ensure that each and every child is provided space with. They must just bear with us. If it happens to take time before your child is admitted, please let them bear with us so that we find space for these learners to be able to place them amicably.
Sir, thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, ma'am.
That was Zambezi Education Director, Mr. Joseph Kawana, talking to us about their readiness as schools reopened